Scrappy friends, how are you guys today? I have been super busy doing tons of stuff, scrap sort of related, trying to get all ready because we launch the Crafty Maven getaway channel that comes out. We're going to start posting on July 5th, so look forward to that. But I want to share this layout with you because I finally got to scrap this week. It's just been a super tiring week this week. A lot of it was part of what I'm going to be scrapping today. So I am just priming this piece of craft market paper with gesso. I use clear gesso, so as you can see, you can't really tell that there's gesso. Well, I can tell a little bit, but it's mostly clear. The thing I will say about the clear is that it's really gritty. I'm not a big fan of that, but I really wanted this background to show up. That burlap with the painted white over top of the burlap is so beautiful. And of course, I'm going to cover it with acrylic paint. So you see me use some green, blue color. It's a little bit more green in real life than it shows on screen. It looks a little bit more blue. I think it's the Heidi Swap mat and the way that the light is from my window. And so I watered down this other blue, which is more of like the ocean. It reminds me of like a tropical ocean type of blue. And I watered it down so that I could just make splatters with it. So that's what I'm doing right now. And because I wanted mixed media, but I also wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. And I wanted it not to be overwhelming, I guess. So I thought that maybe just by doing some splatters, you'll see bits and pieces of it behind my photo. And I am using two photos, and one of them is a 5x7. So it is going to cover quite a bit of this 12x12 sheet. Now, this is a copper color, and I really like this color. This is like one of my favorite colors. I mean, I love the gold, but color just in general, but I really love this copper. I think if they put more embellishments out in this color, oh my gosh. It's very similar to the Dear Lizzie, like the rose gold almost. And like I said, this is Martha Stewart paint, and I really like her paint. It's very nice and smooth. And really thick. So I had a problem, as you can see, getting this off the brush. I cut some of this out because it took so long to like splatter it. I didn't think you needed to watch me for 10 minutes trying to get this paint. But I just pretty much flicked it, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. And it took a while to dry. I heat gunned it a little bit, but I didn't want to overheat it, because I find if you use the heat gun on larger splats of acrylic paint that it'll bubble and it looks horrible. So I would let it sit for a little while, and then I'd heat gun it real quick, and then I'd let it sit. So I let it sit for quite a while. I had dessert, just kind of stuff like that. Use some of the other paint to make a background. So that's just kind of some stuff that I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll even work on a whole other layout if I really want something to dry. And that just kind of allows it to dry and not be all crazy. Because I don't know. I guess it doesn't, in the long run, if you're going to cover it, maybe it doesn't really matter. But I don't like it when it gets all bubbly. So here I'm just using a light modeling paste, and this is Liquitex, and it's very light, but I like it. It reminds me of like a frost stain. So I will say that if you overwork it, it does get really thin. So I just try to not play with it too much. I try not to add stuff to this one just because it is a lot lighter. And I'm almost out of it, which is fine. I'll probably I don't know if I'll end up using this brand again. I still have some Ranger texture paste, and I have some Teresa Collins, I think, maybe. And I don't like hers. Hers is like really weird. It's just a whole different texture than even the Ranger. The Ranger is just a little bit thicker. So I let this dry. Some of it on the arrows were pretty thick. So I did have to let it dry a little bit and heat gun it. And I just tried not to heat it too much because also when the modeling paste gets heated, it will bubble up too. So I don't think it looks as bad as the paint does, though. I will say that. So here I have a piece of this burlap ribbon with the chevrons on it. And it's perfect for this. It looks awesome, right? But here's my problem. I don't have a tiny attacher. I really need to get one, apparently, because I think that that's probably the only thing that would have made this stick on a whole lot better. So here I'm just cutting some flag type things out of the ends to just make it look better. And so as you've seen, I use glossy accents, hoping that maybe that would help a little. But I didn't have anything to put on top to weight it, except for my gun, you know, for the tape, the ATG tape gun. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to put that on there because it... So here I'm pressing it down. And I did use the glue dots a little, and that helped a little. But I don't know if it's really going to hold. I think once the humidity kind of gets to it, I think it looks like it's already lifting up, and I just did it not that long ago. So here I'm trying to think about what I want to use to layer behind this big photo. I know I don't want to go crazy because I already have tons of mixed media or tons of different stuff behind the photo. And with that burlap ribbon, it's going to make it really bulky anyway. And so I figured it didn't need a lot, but of course I have to add layers. So I sat for a while trying to figure out if I wanted to use this dot paper from the Poolside or the triangle paper from the Poolside. And I decided that I'm going to use this dot, even though I don't have a whole big piece. I figured it would look okay. And actually I end up covering up that corner so you don't even notice that there's only part of it, or part of it is missing from the corner. And it looks really, really nice with that black and white. And that also is from the Poolside collection. I just love a nice black and white stripe. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with that. And it really makes this picture stand out. And these pictures this layout just is going to be one of those that is really memorable for us as a family. So as much as I want it to look pretty, I really want the pictures. So here I'm kind of thinking about maybe exactly where I want to put that, how I want to put this on. I use a ton of ATG, and then I'm going to use some pop dots. I spared you me trying to get them on, and I doubled them so that they were a little bit higher so my picture doesn't completely sink down once I stick it in the page protector and in an album. So, and I'm not really worried. This paper really bulked up. Like, it really got wonky. And I'm not too worried, though, because I find that once I get them in the protectors, they're not usually too bad. So here I'm looking for a few papers that I want to layer with this. And I was thinking about a black and white, and then I seen that, and I realized that I want to use that at some point. So I really wanted like a black and white to kind of match the striped. And then I wanted something with color, and those are like party hats. And I thought that that would go well with the theme of my layout. It obviously is not a birthday picture. But we are celebrating. So I thought the hats worked well. This actually collection really worked well. The Maggie Holmes collection, confetti collection. And I didn't know if I was going to have a hard time using that collection because I don't scrap birthdays very much. Actually, I don't think I've scrapped any birthdays yet. I mean, I haven't been scrapping that long, so it's not like, oh my gosh, you know, I've been scrapping a little bit more than a year. So for me to not have scrapped a birthday isn't like a big thing. I'm just going to layer these a little bit. And I really want those hats to show because we are celebrating. It's a happy picture. And so This is a picture of my daughter and one of the nurses at the clinic that she goes to. And the big picture is a picture of the chemo that she actually gets. So this picture is a picture of her last chemo that she's getting in the clinic through an IV. Now she has a port, so it's a little device that goes underneath the skin, and the line runs through into her heart ish into her vein near her heart, so that she doesn't have to get poked in the arm every time she needs chemo. And because of the types of chemos that she was getting, if they had did that, her veins in her arms would have collapsed and it would have did really bad things. So they have to use a major artery for giving chemo for children who have, or anybody who has leukemia. So, and since with leukemia and a lot of cancers, the chemo is for leukemia, it's for 2 years. So that's a long time that if you were getting it in your arm or whatever, or in your hand, to have that. So I seen that word sheet. I say the word sheet. The sheet that has the phrases on it, and it says, hello plus hugs, smiles so big, stories and laughs, gather around, make a wish. Today we celebrate and say hooray. Remember this special day. And it says something about treats and stuff, and I left that out because that didn't really in gifts. But I thought when I read that phrase, it to me seemed absolutely perfect for this picture and for this time, because this is my daughter's last chemo in the clinic. This is a big milestone. I mean, for 2 years, we've been going in at least once a month for chemo. For the past 6 or so months, it's been about every once a month. But for a while, we were going in every few days, every 10 days, twice a month. So just depending on whatever cycle she was in would depend on how much chemo she was getting. So this is a big deal. And I thought those words really just hit home of what we were celebrating. I mean, and I think that to me, this was really cool that, this was meant for a birthday party, but when I read it, it was like, thank you, Maggie Holmes. You wrote this just with us in mind, I don't know. I know that sounds cheesy, doesn't it? It sounds cheesy, but really to me, it just hit. It was like, those were the words that I couldn't come up with, because I honestly was not sure exactly how I was going to just journal on here. I was like, how am I going to journal? How am I going to pick a title? And it worked perfectly, because putting all these strips on, it's almost like a journaling and the title all in one. And once I got going, I mean, you can see I'm just going along. Once I got going, I almost really thought that this doesn't even need anything else. The pictures and those words are what tell the story, and that's really what matters. And that's really what I want us to remember. Not all these extra fun embellishments that, I mean, and I add a couple things, but really I keep this really, really simple. So, I am using multi-matte media to, or the multi-matte medium, just to, it's like a gel. So it's like glue. And you can just put it on to use as a glue, or you could put it over top to seal something. So I'm just using it as a glue, because with the gesso, it really makes things hard to stick on. I added a couple of stickers later, and I had to glue them down with glossy accents because they weren't going to stick. And so I decided to use these. I actually was going to use the gold stickers that I think they were the ones that went in that went along with the Chamel collection. And I didn't have enough letters. And so I picked out these Dear Lizzie ones that were gold. Of course, I didn't have all the right size, but I figured, you know, the I and the A being lowercase, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Maybe later it'll be a big deal when I look at it and I'll be like, oh, that looks horrible. But I really like the gold. It picks up on a couple of places where I did add some gold. And then I'm going to use these marquee letter stickers from October. I want to say October Afternoon. It's not. It's or like American Crafts. They came out with the Craft Market collection. And then I'm going to put in these little letter stickers. I'm going to use the ones from the Poolside, and then I'm going to use some of the Craft Market ones. And it's just going to say Last IV Chemo. So, and then I'm going to glue these arrows down just to point down to that, because that's very important to know that that's what that is. And I will show in the end, you'll see through the pictures, I do the journaling on an extra sheet and I'm going to glue it on the back. So I just want you guys to see that I did do journaling. It's not anything like, oh my gosh. It's pretty much what I told you guys. I think I added a couple other things that were, you know, relevant to us. I thought that camera would look nice, and I kind of fooled around with maybe where I should put it, and I almost left it in that corner, and then I thought, up there looks a little better. And so I'm going to add the date with my date stamp, my roller date stamp. And then I'm also going to add a few of the Pink Fresh Studio wooden things and a couple of enamel dots. And then later on, I will add a few of the Maggie Holmes words from the sheet that go with the confetti line. So I picked Hooray, Celebrate Life, and The Best Smile. And I just put it on where the words are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this layout. I know it's a little bit different-ish, but I thought that it was a fun way to incorporate words for a title and journaling together. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.